You've asked yourself the question, maybe in the middle of the night, maybe in the shower, maybe sitting in your car unable to move. Why them? Of all the people in the world, why were you so drawn to the one person who would eventually destroy you? You've blamed yourself for it, called yourself stupid, called yourself naive, wondered what was wrong with you, that you couldn't see what was coming. But here is what nobody told you. You were not stupid. You were not naive. You were not broken. You were following a map drawn long before you ever met them. Long before you were old enough to understand what love was supposed to feel like. And today, I want to show you that map, because once you see it, everything changes. Not just how you understand what happened, but how you understand yourself. Part 1. Introducing the Unconscious. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists who ever lived, spent his entire career studying one question. Why do people do things they don't consciously choose to do? Why do intelligent people make decisions that hurt them? Why do loving people end up in relationships that destroy them? Why does the same painful pattern repeat? With different faces, different names, but the same ending. His answer was both simple and profound. He said, most of what drives human behavior does not come from the conscious mind. It comes from somewhere deeper, somewhere older, somewhere most people never look. He called it the unconscious. Think of your mind as an iceberg, the small part above the water. That is everything you are aware of. Your thoughts right now, your plans for tomorrow, the words you are hearing in this moment. But underneath the water, there is something enormous. Something that has been building since the first day you were alive. Every experience you ever had, every emotion you were told not to feel, every belief you absorbed before you were old enough to question it, every wound that was too painful to keep in your awareness, all of it, stored, all of it, active, all of it, quietly making your most important decisions, including the decision to move toward the person who would eventually betray you. Part 2. The Shadow. Inside the unconscious, Jung identified something he called the shadow. The shadow is not evil. It is not the villain inside you. It is simply everything you were taught to hide. When you were a child, you were whole. Every emotion, every quality, every possibility, all of it was present in you. Then the world started editing you. Your anger was too much, so you buried it. Your neediness made people uncomfortable, so you hid it. Your grief was inconvenient, so you swallowed it. Your desire for love felt dangerous, so you locked it away. All of those buried parts became your shadow. And here is the thing about the shadow that changes everything. What you bury does not disappear. It goes underground. It gets stronger in the dark, and it finds ways to come out, especially in who you choose to love, because the shadow doesn't choose partners the way your conscious mind does. Your conscious mind looks for kindness, for compatibility, for shared values and common ground. Your shadow looks for something else entirely. It looks for what feels familiar, for what echoes something it already knows, for what promises, even unconsciously, to finally give it what it never received. And that search, that desperate, unconscious search, is called projection. Part 3. Projection. Projection is one of the most important concepts in all of psychology, and it is the direct answer to why you were drawn to the person who hurt you. Here is how it works. Imagine a movie projector. The projector sits in the back of the room. It has an image loaded inside it, but you don't see that image on the projector. You see it on the screen, far away, outside of the projector, as if the image belongs to the screen. But the image was always inside the projector. It was always coming from within. That is exactly what psychological projection does. The image is inside you. Your wounds, your unmet needs, and your buried desires, your shadow. You don't see them inside yourself. You see them out there, in other people. And when you meet someone who carries your projection, someone who seems to embody exactly what your unconscious has been searching for, the feeling is overwhelming. It feels like recognition, like coming home, like finally, someone who understands you, without you having to explain yourself. That feeling is real, but what you are recognizing is not fully them. You are recognizing yourself, the parts of yourself you haven't claimed yet, the healing you've been searching for, the love you never received, the wholeness you've been trying to find outside of yourself. And you projected all of it onto them. Part 4. The specific projection that led to your betrayal. Now I want to talk about something specific, because projection works in different ways for different people. But there is one pattern that appears more than any other in people who experience deep betrayal. Jung called it the rescuer projection. Here is how it forms. At some point in your life, probably long before you were old enough to protect yourself from the pain of it, someone who was supposed to love you was not fully there. Maybe they were emotionally unavailable. Maybe their love felt conditional. Maybe you had to earn it. Maybe you never quite felt fully safe, fully seen, fully chosen. That wound went into your shadow. Not the memory of it necessarily, but the feeling of almost being loved, the feeling of reaching for something that kept moving just out of reach. And that feeling became your unconscious definition of what love is. Not because it was healthy, not because it was what you deserved, but because it was familiar. And the unconscious mind, above almost everything else, moves toward what it recognizes. So when you met the person who betrayed you, something in you recognized the feeling, the electricity, the uncertainty, the sense that their love was something you would have to reach for, something you would have to earn, something that felt just slightly out of reach. And your unconscious said, "This is it. This is love. This is home." Not because it was right, but because it was familiar. And underneath that recognition, your wounded child whispered something it had been waiting years to say. This time, I will finally be enough. This time, they will choose me completely. This time, the love I reach for will not pull away. That hope, that ancient aching hope, that is what drew you to them. Not weakness, not stupidity, not a failure of judgment, a wound, looking for the healing. It had been denied for a very long time. Part 5. Why this is not your fault. I need you to hear this next part carefully. Understanding that your shadow and your projection drew you toward the person who betrayed you does not mean the betrayal was your fault. It was not your fault. You did not cause what they chose to do. You did not deserve what happened. Their behavior was their responsibility. Their shadow, their wounds, their choice. What this understanding does is something far more valuable than blame. It gives you back your power. Because as long as you believe the betrayal was random, that you were simply unlucky, that there was nothing to understand, you remain vulnerable to the same pattern. But the moment you begin to see the unconscious map that led you there, you can start to draw a new one. Not by trying harder, not by choosing more carefully with your conscious mind, but by doing the deeper work, the shadow work, The work of facing what has been hidden, of meeting the wound that has been choosing for you, of giving the wounded child inside you what it has been searching for externally. From within, that work, that honest, difficult, transformative work, is what this channel is built on. And it begins with exactly what you just did, with seeing. You were drawn to the person who destroyed you because something inside you was trying to heal. It chose the wrong vehicle because it didn't know another way yet. But now you're starting to see the map, and a person who can see the map is no longer lost inside it. The work ahead is not about becoming someone who never gets hurt. It's about becoming someone who understands themselves deeply enough that they stop handing their healing to people who were never equipped to carry it. That person is who you are becoming right now, in this moment. By simply being willing to look, healing is not going back. It's going forward into someone more real. I'll see you in the next video.